if we're blah 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 blah, that's what I do. Mm-hmm. Super 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 super. Okay. Thank you for tuning in. What About the Ladies podcast? I am your host, Amy. And I just want to give a quick reminder, you guys, that the new episodes are being released every Tuesday. Remember to subscribe on YouTube if you want to watch the podcast, or follow on Spotify or Audible if you prefer to listen to the podcast. And like I said, it will be on Apple and it will be on Google. I promise. Now, today I do have a guest, Nina Wallace.
Hello, hello, hello.
She is an artist, a singer and songwriter, which I love. I am definitely a music lover. And so Nina, I met her through work. Yes. I would call it my day job, okay? And which are paying the bills.
Definitely, I agree.
And I know she was always there with our department and everything, but what caught my attention was there was one day the system was going all wonky. We were all stressing out. I mean, it was like a real long week, like the computer system going down all the time. I'm not going to curse. Oh my God, the D word. Sorry, but it was bad. It was really stressing everybody out, and it was a Friday, and I'm like,
so
Lord,
ready to go.
Like, I'm trying to make my numbers. I need the system to be working today.
Yes.
And so Nina comes along and she's like, oh, for you music lovers, if you want some positive vibes, listen to the song. I was like, you know what? That's what I need right now. Bloop. So we're all like, okay, Nina, thank you, listening. And I'm listening. I was like, oh, wow, this is so nice. My daughter's right next to me. And she's like, Mom, what are you listening to? Oh, this looks so nice sound. I'm like, this sounds like Nina. And I'm like, and I didn't really like fully read the post, and I was just like, oh shoot. I'm like, then I see like everybody's posting. I'm like, oh, that's her. That is so cool. And and I'm like showing my daughter away, and I'm like fully like re-listening to the song and everything. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it like really, really touched me. It really, really did. I mean, that week I was struggling. I mean, just with work by yourself, household, like just being a mom and trying to just deal with my daily life and stuff that was going on during that time. And girl, it was like the perfect song that I just needed. And I'm just like, anybody who's listening to the song, I'm like, you needed that right now. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I was like, thank you, Nina.
I'm so glad to hear that, because when we're writing in the season that we're writing as songwriters, you hope that what you're putting out is something that's not only something that people will enjoy, but also will connect. So I'm glad that was a blessing to you, not just you, like many others that were telling me how this song has definitely impacted them. So I'm glad that it did what it was supposed to do.
Yes. I mean, so for me during that time, we were just going through a loss in our family. My spouse had lost his mom, and I had a few losses, so I've like know the feeling of grief and everything, but they have not. It was like the first really for his side of the family and for him himself, and he lost his mom, and it was a very big thing for him because he's very close to his mom, and my daughter very they're like sisters, like legit. They're buddy together. And it was very tough because she had just passed on October, and it was literally a few days from his birthday. And I was like, I felt so broken. Like, wow. Like, yes, I know how it feels to lose somebody, but to lose someone like that you're so close with, and try to support them, and try to like be positive as much as you can. Yes.
Yes. And when I was in the midst of writing this, I was actually writing it with my collective, a group that I was with before, Collective Grace Worship, and we were just having a session because someone in our group had also their grandmother passed.
Really?
The remaining, after that session, after we were just singing that chorus part over and over and over again, it kept lingering with me. So the remainder of the verses kept coming to me, because I too was going through my grief process. I lost so many family members, immediate family members. And as much as my pastor was like, oh, come to grief counseling, there's a way that you handle your own personal grief. Yeah. And for me, it was writing. And so it was just a reminder to me that the gift of love. Yeah. No one is permanent on this earth, and we know that it's repeated all the time in the Bible. So we have to appreciate each other while we have each other on this earth. And so the gift of love, the gift of relationships, the gift of friendship, we are loved. We may feel like we're walking this earth alone sometimes, even to moms out there that are struggling doing both mom and dad positions. The one thing I always have wished as a teenager for my mom, who was doing that, I wanted her to always prioritize herself, to love herself, show herself some love, gift herself. I mean, before you can love anybody else, you got to love yourself. You got to pour into yourself. And as hard as it may be, you just have to try and prioritize yourself. You are loved, and you are love. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that song was definitely pouring into me a lot, and the verses kept coming to me a lot. And it was definitely a reminder, even to myself, that you are love. God is love. Mm-hmm. Everyone is loved. So,
dude, I was playing that song on repeat. Like, for real.
Yes.
And then, like, I'm not, like, fluent in, like, Spotify and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it on my Apple, and there we go. And just keep on playing it.
It's all across the board, all the platforms. But I stick with Spotify. I'm on Spotify all the time. So, that's where I go, and I listen to it the most as well when I need to remind myself.
No, for real, man. I played with my daughter all the time, and I'm just like, my host was like that she was also, listen to it and remember, with the song that, yes, she's also loved, and everything, and dealing with that. But yeah, man, it was a tough time trying to deal with that. Wow. And being just supportive, and then, trying to continue, being your wife duties and your mommy duties and everything. And girl, I was going through my own mental state and everything. I was just like, Lord, what is going on? What am I supposed to do right now? Wow. So, and then all this podcast stuff was coming around at the same time. Mm-hmm. It was very new, at least doing it alone-ish. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, Lord, directs me, and then it really, really reminded me yes, I am loved, and what I'm doing, to continue to that self-love and self-care. Yes. Making sure I'm taking care of myself. And as long as I'm doing that, I can continue to help my family and support my family and my friends. Absolutely. Who's leaning on me. Yes. Then I can continue to do that.
Exactly. And you function so much more better when you have reflected, when you have meditated on yourself, when you have loved yourself, because nobody can love you better than you love you. No. You know what I mean? But once you've gotten all that, then you can function better in pouring into other people. Because you find when you're not functioning correctly and you're not loving yourself properly and you're not prioritizing yourself, you're functioning on bitterness, frustration, and you tend to pour that out. Your vibe is all off.
Yes.
So,
I don't like it. My vibe. There's times where, and my spouse, he will know. He'll tell me. He's like, no, that's not you. I like how you are. You're confident. Yep. You don't take no crap, no nothing, and everything. And I'm just like, you know what? You're right. But then I'm also evolving as well. Yes. So I'm like, there's always this thing. Okay, I'm now having 2 kids or whatever, and going through my youth, you're always having reflecting back, man, can I get back to those good old days?
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just like, you know what? But in a way, I like how I was before, but I'm so much more better than what I was. So I don't want to go back. No. I it's cool, that version. Yes. But this new version of me is so much better.
I have to remind myself, I was so young. I did so many crazy things
cra-
as a teenager and even as a young adult. Man, the decisions I made back then, some of them I would say was not as bad because I wasn't really the troublemaker, but
Sorry, I mean, not all the time.
I take those things from my past and I learn from them. I keep them as life lessons. I mentor young girls that don't have parents at home to actually have the time to talk to them and teach them and equip them. Mm-hmm. And I look at it as equipping them because I didn't have that in my life. And everything that I did, this is what you should not do. This is what you should learn from what I did. You know, I love to equip our young women because it's important. If we don't pour into them, they're going to repeat the cycle of seeking love in the wrong places. Trying to chase after love for the wrong reasons and not knowing that the love and the attention that you're seeking is because of the lacking of what you've been taught. You know, so how do you break that cycle?
Exactly. And I love it. And like just reminding that, yes, you are loved by God. That's like the top thing. It's
exactly.
like, I feel like as once you know that and you have that like set in stone, I feel like nothing really else can really like
nothing can shake you like because you're building it on a firm foundation. You know?
Yes.
Exactly.
You said it. It's right. It was like right into my tongue. No, but for real, I mean, we struggle. Like, okay, so when we were younger, we didn't have YouTube and things like that to look up things like, Mommy, what's going on with this in my body? Or
I think it was called, we had Talk City. It was like you had the TV and the little keyboard. That was it.
No.
We had no access.
No, nothing, man. I'm just like, I learned a lot of my like lady stuff and how to be a woman or just like teenager or how to date and stuff, like reading books and watching TV really shows, oh, that's how you're supposed to act, or that's how you're supposed to talk, or you know, or tend to a man and stuff like that. And
my goodness,
we have like totally wrong
way of thinking. It was awful. I had to learn through my friend's mom, who saw something in me. She was like, you're always fighting. You're always getting kicked out of school. You have such a great talent. Why don't you use it for this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can sing that. I can do that. But she was shaping me. She was breaking me out of a habit. And so I loved that. I feel like I'm sweating.
It is warm. I do apologize. No, it is very warm. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was usually me, but yeah, it gets a little bit warm.
But yeah, she definitely shaped me, and I was very appreciative of the knowledge that she was imparting to me because I needed it. I needed that in my life. And my mom was always working. My dad had already moved off to Florida. And again, I was responsible for my brother and all of that. But I kept going back to my best friend's mom. And she would, like, if I had questions, if I was dressing wrong, if I was seeking the wrong attention, she made it okay for me to come to her.
That's
and
nice.
She showed me a lot of love.
That's nice. I like that. I really do. I feel like definitely a lot of young ladies just need that.
Yes.
You know, my daughter's definitely, she went to her grandmother all the time.
Wow.
You know, so now it's more like I'm trying to have her come to me more, you know, because she doesn't have that. I mean, she has another grandmother, but she's far. She's really far. I'm hoping her to like she can move over here, but she lives in Connecticut, so most of my family are up north. Yeah, and it's really just us. I have a few cousins, but there's like 2-3 hours away. Yeah, so it's like, I feel bad, you know,
because she doesn't have that influence, or you feel like, but you can always.
She has that influence, but it's just like, you know, there's always those things that you don't really want to tell your mom. Yes. You know.
Yes.
And you want to have another woman there.
That's true.
And it's okay. I understand that. I get that.
But God has a way of planting people in your life. He does. He has a way of planting people, and I say, as much as I may say that all the time, it's very true. I consider myself very blessed. Why? Because when I say I did some crazy stuff, I meant like things like when I graduated, and you know, island parents, they have plans for you to go off to college and be an engineer and a doctor. No, that was not me. I secretly planned to get a passport and go to Germany. What? I did just that. I bought my ticket Didn't tell my family. I was like, yeah, I'm going to my friends for the weekend.
What?
Yes, ma'am. By myself. I was 19. Got on a plane by myself. And you know, sex trafficking is bad today.
Yeah.
It was not, it's like, it wasn't even that bad back then, but it was something you still could be concerned about.
Yeah.
But got on a plane, went to Germany, don't know a lick of German, but I knew my friend, my friend Sabrina there, and I was there for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
2 years. Yes. 2 years. And all the things, like I said, God is preparing you. I knew how to sing. I knew how to do hair from doing my friend's hair in band in high school. God is always equipping you, girl. Always. And then on top of that, I knew how to act. I did some drama in school. So being in Germany, I used all of those skills. And like the first place that I went to do a hair salon, the lady was like, in German, she was like, do her hair. She's for a wedding. If you do it, I pay you. Girl, did that woman's hair. Very simple, $500. I was like, what? So I survived. Using my skills in Germany. But those 2 years were basically, I felt like was a break. God was saying, yes, you can have this, but when you come back, I need you to prepare for everything else. And sure enough, when I came back, my mom was sick. I had to take care of her. Aww. And when she passed away, I went to go live with my dad. And my grandmother passed, and then my baby brother passed. Ooh. And then my dad passed, and my uncle passed. Gosh. God was preparing me for the breaking.
Oh, man.
And God was also testing me on how faithful are you going to be to me when all of this is taken from you. And so as much as I wanted to think, who is going to love me? Who's going to take care of me? How am I in forgetting? We have our moments. As humans, we're going to have our moments, and we're going to have our breakdowns, or we're going to be angry, you know what I mean? But again, we have to come back to ourselves and not allow the enemy to take us out of our character.
Yes.
And remind ourselves that even though we don't have those that were surrounding us with love, we are still loved.
Yes.
Even though we don't have the mom that loved on us and that disciplined us, she, in the time that we did have her, she taught you some things. In the time that you did have your father, he was teaching you, and not only just teaching you, but he was also equipping you in how to define a man in a relationship. Yes. What a man looks like. Mm-hmm. My father was a hard worker. Ooh. And he did not want me to accept anything less than what he said. If he can't do what I did for you, he is not the one for you. Mm-hmm. So my father definitely equipped me and loved on me. The love of my sister, like I prayed for a sister, didn't know I had a sister, but my father introduced me to a sister. So I knew I wouldn't be walking this walk alone and still have the love of my sister. My brother, even though at the time, my baby brother, you know, brothers can be very frustrating or whatever. In the times that we even bumped head, I still have appreciation for that because it was a test in my patience. Boys are testing your patience. But his gift of laughter and dancing had me loving laughter a lot more, loving dancing a lot more, and loving him a lot more. So his gift of laughter was a gift for me. So it's a reminder that even though I don't have them physically, I have those memories that God gave me for just a brief moment. They're not the people that we have in our sight. God did not give them to you forever. You know what I mean? We know that.
Yeah.
Instead of bumping heads with these people that we have in our lives, and yes, they can be frustrating, still cherish every moment that you have and know that you are loved in the midst of all of that. Yes. And you're loved even when they're gone. Mm-hmm.
That girl is where I definitely been learning a lot. Yeah. That area right there. Yes. I mean, it's especially with the whole budding, so with family members and everything. Yes. And you forget about those things when they're gone. Yes. And it's like you miss that. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you know what? I'm sorry. I'll take it back. Yes. I'll take it back. Exactly. You know? Just to fight with them again. Exactly. Just to have them. And definitely like this month is even more, like you were saying, like you don't forget we're going to have those moments. Yes. Like June, Mother's Day just passed, you know.
Yes.
I didn't spend it with my mother or anything because she's far.
Yeah.
And then my dad, he passed away when I was a lot younger. But like to go every year, you know, is to remember your dad. And I have a stepfather with he's great. He's been, you know, took that role and help us and you know, show us who exactly what you were saying.
Yes.
How what a man that we should have.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
an example of a man.
Yes.
You know, to someone to lead the household and everything.
Yes, because some of these young girls don't even know that.
No.
And you see it so much. It's such, I think, a stigma. It's where young girls get pregnant, they grow up, babies, raising babies, and to the point where they're raising them so. They're looking at their moms who are so strong. Some women are so strong, but there's no male figure in the house. And girls go, you know, young girls, they love their fathers. They love the strong figure. And so when they grow up, they're thinking, okay, well, this is what mom does, or this is what I see my friends' parents doing. So let me go out and look for this. Let me go look for that. This is what a man should look like. No. That's the wrong thing to even think.
Wrong thing. No. So yeah, in this moment, I was like, kind of like reflecting in that, you know, like just, I guess the memories, like the time I've had with him and everything I've learned between both of my dads, you know, and where I'm at now. You know, it definitely took a lot of learning how to like just love yourself and just falling in love with yourself.
Yes.
It was just very many moments where you just, I don't know, you get that little voice of the enemy, you know, kind of just trying to distract
Make you doubt yourself.
Yeah, making you doubt, making you feel like you're not worthy,
that you have no value,
that you're no value, that you're ugly, you know, that you're not talented, nobody's gonna like accept you, you know, like what are you doing, you know, like no, you're not gonna be a good mom, you're not gonna be a good wife.
No, and it says also Ephesians 2 verse 10 says that God made us as masterpieces. We are a masterpiece. So we are always, as a young person, we're going to always feel as if we have no value, as if we have no purpose, as if, you know, nobody loves me, nobody's paying me any attention. That's momentary. And that's, again, it's an inner turmoil where the enemy has a way of planting seeds, but it's up to you to allow that seed to grow.
Yes, you said it right there.
Yeah,
because
affirmations are so important. I am important. I am beautiful. I don't need no man to confirm that for me. I know that for myself.
Exactly.
And that's what's important is affirmations. I took time, even for myself, because I have days where you have your up and down days. You have days where you're feeling great. And then you have those days when you're feeling like, I don't look my best. I don't love what I see in the mirror. Again, it's up to you to plant the positive, and it's up to you to change your narrative. You know what I'm saying? And so even when I don't feel like it, I start telling myself that I do have value.
Yes.
I am beautiful. Even when the part of me is like, no, you don't look good today. I look beautiful. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but I look good. I need that. And sometimes even putting on music. Buddy, I don't even feel like putting on any music, but I will put some music on and they'll be like, ooh, okay.
Yes.
I love God. You don't love God. What's wrong with you?
I did that the other day. I was like, I was just tired. Just overexhausted. And my kids, they have so much energy. And it's already 9:00 at night. And I'm like, guys, I have a lot of things going on this week.
Yes.
I just want to like hurry up, get these chores done, and go to bed. No, or it's 9:00. I'm still doing the chores, putting everything stuff away. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put some music on. I literally stopped doing any chores. Okay. And it was like 10:00 at night, and I'm over here worshiping, praising, listening, dancing to music and stuff. And my husband's like, eating his cereal, like, what in the world you guys doing right now? You supposed to be in bed. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna sing right here. That's it. Okay.
Let me get my praise on. Okay.
Get my praise on. Let me sing some of these songs. Let it touch my spirit.
For real.
Okay.
But it's great too because it gives you a moment not to be in your bitterness, not to be in the negative. And it's always a great thing to have a moment of rejoicing, because you can look back and be like, you know what? I survived that day.
Yep.
I survived that day.
I survived yesterday.
I don't know about tomorrow, but I survived that day.
It is so true. It's so true.
I survived, and that's a beautiful thing.
I tell my team, and it's been funny because, okay, I was telling you that, I'm training the newbies and everything. Mm-hmm. And one of them, she's older, so she already knows. She's already experienced what I've been experiencing, that she was working from home with her children, raising them and everything. And to hear my kids in the background, she was like, girl, it's okay. She's like, take your time. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm multitasking here, okay? I'm like, eggs, scrambled, milk, juice, okay. Thank you for calling.
Listen, that's the gift of a mom, honey. Multitask. You got to. And that's what I loved about watching even my mom. I love seeing how strong she could be. I love seeing that she could do so many things at so many times. And you're like, I pray I'm not that stressed.
Right? Even my daughter, she does that. She's like, Mommy, I don't want to have any kids right now. And I'm just like, you're good. Yeah. I just want you to focus on school, education. You focus on you.
And that's another thing. Listen, that is so important, because I feel like young girls grow up thinking that, oh, we got to grow up and get married. We go to school. Now we got to get married. We have boyfriends. We got to have children. That's my life. Mm-hmm. No. You need to see the world.
That is true.
See outside.
I don't know why. I was so obsessed with having a family first.
Oh, wow.
Like, legit obsessed. I mean, it was to the point I'm thinking about it because it's funny. Because, okay, so you saw my spouse, but when we were dating, I was like trying to pressure him to having kids. And he's like, girl, like, we're young. Like, take it easy,
Can we appreciate each other first?
Exactly. And it was just me. And then some people thought that it was him. And I'm just like, no, it was me. It was definitely me all the time.
I love it. I think marriage and relationships are beautiful. But I personally feel like you need to see the world. Yeah. If I say, hey, have you been to Spain? I want to hear a thought about it.
Exactly.
But some of these girls, again, I don't know. I don't know if it's a majority, but some of these girls do grow up, and sometimes even as teenagers get pregnant, and their life just, from there, I felt like they were seeking the wrong different type of love or completion when it should. Then they'd be like, and I have one parent that comes to me sometimes, and she's like, Miss Nina, I'm so glad that you're equipping my daughter, that you're encouraging her to go to college, because 2 of my girls have been accepted to universities. Full sail, full ride. And they want to see the world. They want to travel. And their parents, her mom at first was like, no, why are you going so far away? Stay in Florida. And she's like, Miss Nina, can you talk to my mom? And I'd talk to her mother, and her mother's like, well, my mom never taught me that. She has me like sending this back home to family, and I do want to break the cycle. It's not that you do, you can.
You can.
It starts by prioritizing yourself. Yes. And I said, don't think that your daughter is being selfish. Mm-hmm. Your daughter wants more to life than just dealing with boys, or dealing with problems with boys, or dealing with pregnancy. I said, that's one thing you should be applauding your young lady for.
Yes.
Because she wants to see life beyond what is here. Yep. And that is a beautiful thing. She loves herself so much. She wants to do that. And not only that, if she do that and she becomes somebody great, she can pick you up out of where you are. Mm-hmm. That's equipping your daughter. You love her that much to do that for her and allow her to have that.
That's not teaching my little ones right now, because right now she's in this boy phase. I'm like, girl, you're too young. First of all, you don't have any boyfriends.
No.
Okay, focus on you. But she can really sing, and she likes the whole like K-pop style and everything.
Yes.
And so there was a show I was watching, and how they do have like these programs where you can go over there, even in high school and college and stuff like that. And then it really, like, I started thinking about her, and I'm like,
student exchange.
The student exchange. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, if she wants to do this, she could really go
Yes.
for it.
Yes.
And even right now, there's like this app where you can like learn the language and everything.
Yes.
And she been trying to do it. And she she's like for real trying to like, she'll look up the song that she likes and stuff like that, like K-pop style, and she'll try to translate it so that she understands.
I love that.
And I'm just like, this might be a very for real thing for
Where
me
she's
right now,
trying
where
to
she's trying
challenge
to
herself.
challenge
I love
herself.
that.
And like, what if it's that moment that she does want to go? Am I gonna be the type of person that's like, no?
It's hard. It's hard.
I know it's gonna be hard. And then I thought about, and then I'm just like, okay, I would love for her to see her go. I would love for her to see her go. But a part of me is always gonna be like,
it's always for, especially if they do it at a young age, it's for a year. It's giving them that exposure that they need to of the world, and not to blind them and think everything is always perfect. They have to eventually see the world and form their own opinions. It's also a way of you, after teaching her so much, see if she's going to apply what you teach to her while she's on her own. That's the way you have to look at it. Love them enough to let them. Buddy, it's a good thing we're not birds, because when the mama's done, she kicks them right up out the nest. You either fly or you just hit the ground.
I know. But I don't want her to hit the ground. I hit the ground many times. Okay, it does not feel good.
And so we teach them now so that we don't hold. It's not our job to hold on to them. It's to definitely equip them. Yeah. Equip them while you can, so that you can kick them out of the nest.
It's true. It's true. I remember when I left, and I felt so bad because I just had like my own goals where I wanted to be, where I wanted to go. Yeah. And I still wanted to have a family and everything, pressuring my spouse over here to have kids. and it's funny because it's just true. I really was pressuring him, and it's so early in the beginning of our relationship. Yeah. But I still wanted to see the world and everything. I didn't see the world, but I did leave out of the nest. I was like, I want to go out. I went out for college. I'll do my own thing, living my own life and everything.
And it's no disrespect to the parents. It's just that I know you love me, but let me do this. Let me apply what you taught me, or trust me enough to do what's right. Yeah. God is, I keep going back to him. I have to. But God is such a great parent because he doesn't close us. He gives us enough room to make mistakes. That's why there's grace and mercy. And so he doesn't make the choices for us. He allows us to make our choices. Now, if we make the right choices, of course, it's going to be great. But when we make the wrong choice, he'd be like, you tried. Now, here's the consequences.
Like, dang, man. I was like, can I go back?
So it's like there's second chances. But that's what I love. I love about it is that we have to learn to show each other grace, and our parents have to learn to find a part of them to not think that you're still a baby, but that you're growing. And in order for us to apply, or for me to earn your trust, I need you to let me have that room to make my own mistakes. Yeah, I love that.
Girl, you got a lot of wisdom over there, man. I love it. I'm going to pick at your brain, man.
Oh, thank you. Pick away.
All right. So our relationship is a little bit new. I would love to hear more of your story. How this Miss Nina Wallace, came about. This blooming, just beautiful songs coming out of you.
Wow.
Like, so far you gone through some things.
Yes.
I know grief for one. I've been through a lot. Too much of that.
Yes.
That I understand. Woo, that scared me.
That was scary.
John. Oh my God. Oh man.
Well, there's a lot of stories. Wow. I loved singing from the start. I can remember when I was 6 years old that my dad would always play Bob Marley. And so I would always try to mimic Bob Marley. From there was Whitney Houston. I grew up listening to her. She was my favorite. Man, when I heard about a talent show, my mom was like, no, you don't need to be a part of no talent show. And I'm like, no, Mom, I got this. I can do it.
Yeah.
And buddy, that talent show was where I learned failure. I totally flunked that talent show. My cousin actually won it because she had instrumental. I didn't know anything about music. I started writing later on when I wanted to, when you go through like a bad experience. To me, that failing that talent show was a bad experience. I learned to hone my craft better. But I was still not honing it for the right reasons. My grandmother was like, you need to be in church and you need to be singing for the Lord. And I'm like, Grandma, no.
I think all of our
I'm busy trying to win these talent shows. But I was like not in it for not going to church to sing. I wasn't trying to be a part of no choir. I wanted to be solo dolo like Whitney, Celine Dion, all of them. But I still kept practicing and still kept singing. But when I hit a part of my teens where my parents divorced and I was really angry and I started writing. Buddy, I started writing like crazy. And it wasn't something like worth really singing about, but that's where my writing started. As for writing music, when I moved here to Florida and going through the grief process, I would really start writing and leaning more into his word, and it started helping me formulate my mind, make my mind right, so that I can pour out what it is I'm really trying to say. Going back to my mentor, she said, do you want to glorify God, or do you want to just sing things about booty shaking and about, things that don't really glorify him or even glorify you? It's just exposing you to shaking your butt and cursing with your friends. Does that make you look good? Does that glorify him? I didn't know what she was talking about. I was like, I just want to sing. That's all. So she did challenge me. And I think that's where it started for me, accepting challenges. My dad challenged me that I would not be good enough at something. And he said, all you're going to do is end up barefoot and pregnant, because I chose to live with my mom. And he was hurting. Of course, I can understand that. He was hurting. He wanted me to stay with him. But I took that challenge. And instead of becoming barefoot and pregnant, honey, I was saving money. I was working. I was going to school. I was making A's. And any boy that came up to me, the answer was no. No. But still, my mom was never home. She was always working all the time. But my mentor, she took me to church with her. And I knew who God was. I knew I was saved. I knew that. I knew I was loved. But because I did have that emptiness in me of feeling not worthy, I felt I had no confidence. Just being more and more in her presence and in her, watching her be in her word, watching her and her husband and my best friend's family, it started planting a need in me. Wow. And so I started writing more about that. One day I went to church with them and I was singing this song called I Will Be Free. And it wasn't until I got to the bridge part of that song that I broke out crying. And of course, everybody in the congregation thought I was having the Holy Spirit. But but I was like, oh my God, this is so true for me, this song. And I wanted that feeling again. But I wanted to also be able to write for that feeling. So fast forward to where we are now. A session had took place at my church, and this Spanish guy, he was like, I want to teach you guys how to write. He said it like that. I don't want to teach you guys how to write. You got gifts. That's nothing. Let me see you write your own music.
Oh, man.
And I loved his accent. I loved his spirit. He kept us laughing, but he also kept us interested in writing our own music.
That's cool.
And it just bloomed from there. That's how Collective Grace Worship had started. Nice. We wrote that entire album. We wrote all of those songs, and it was so amazing to feel like we accomplished something. We told our stories.
Wow. Love it.
I loved it. And so one thing that was scary for me was writing my own songs by myself. And so that was a challenge, another challenge for me, writing my own music. So when I wrote The Brand New View, that's coming out June 22nd, it's only 5 songs, but all of them are reflective One of them was written in the midst of grief, and the other one is learning how to let go and learning how to love yourself. La La Love. Mm-hmm. So all of those songs tell a story. It's very simple. It's not really wordy, but I feel like you don't have to say a lot to keep something, to get straight to the point of a song. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's
girl,
me.
I can't wait. I was just like, I need to meet this girl. We need to like collaborate at some point. I mean, I got a lot going on right now, but God, we gotta meet up. I mean, this is months. I'm just like, what you got? Oh, that's a good song. I'm gonna play the song again.
Yes, I mean the songs on there. The first one, it's called Burn, and it's a meditative song. I find that when I'm reflecting, I tend to come up with something so quick that keeps burning inside of me, and I'm like, you know what? Let me go on and write these words down because it's still there. I hear you, Lord. Stop. So I'm just like, on that song. It's really short, but it basically says that I don't want to straddle the fence. I want to dive into who you are and all that you are. I'll keep waiting and I'll keep praising you. Basically, no matter what you're going through, continue to praise God through the good and the bad. We shouldn't just go to him when things are going great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Love him enough to definitely keep glorifying his name. Live your life glorifying him. Restoration. That was written during the COVID situation.
Oh my
goodness,
girl.
That was written through.
I needed during that time. I needed so much affirmation during that time. Is no joke.
Yes, ma'am.
No joke. I like legit right before COVID happened. I was going through so much like anxiety out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just legit out of nowhere. Like I'm not the type of person that just has anxiety for what? I don't get stressed like that for what? No. And you know, I'm like, what is going on? But it was like legit, and it wasn't just me. It was a few people that was going through it.
Yes.
But man, like I had the hardest time to shake it off.